the wildcard, okay, the identify by anchor verification points, okay, and handling the error in Tosca, which was like the no matching tab was found, okay. So this can also help you in getting the things like how what all the identification methods we have. So if I ask you, what you will say, like just have this session right now. Hello.
Yes. Yes, yes. Identify properties and identify by index and identify by image and identify by anchor.
Okay. So what you understand and what you understood with the identify by anchor.
It will make our element or object unique. So the Tosca works on the by doing the object unique,
Yes,
making the
yes.
element
So
unique.
identify by properties also doing the same, right?
Yep.
So why we choose identify by anchor? What is the difference?
What is I mean, if few elements we may face duplicateness in our properties. So
Okay.
in that case, we will go through the anchor tag. Sorry,
Y-
anchor.
y- Okay, so how anchor works actually?
Anchor will pull the record like in a tree structure model.
Like what is tree structure model? Can you please give me an example like whatever I have showed it to you, like how anchor works and what is the use of it?
No, sir. Don't.
Okay, no problem. So there are four ways we know: identify by property, which is a by default way.
Mm.
Okay. Then there is identify by anchor. Then there is identify by index, and then there is identify by image. And this is how we will prioritize our identification method only in this sequence only.
Yep.
By property, by anchor, index, and then image.
Oh,
Image is our least priority. Okay. So now
okay.
what how anchor works is, okay. So like I want to come to you. I want to come to your office. Okay. And you have recently joined and your ID is not generated yet. Okay. So and I know your manager. Okay. Who has a unique ID. Okay. So to reach out to you, I will ask your manager where the Rohini is sitting. Okay. So
Okay.
your manager will tell me, yeah, this is the place where Rohini is sitting. Okay. This is the one way. Okay. And another one is I can go just next to your colleague and ask where the Rohini is sitting. So he will tell me either the left or right.
Mm. Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
by getting the help of the another element and taking it as an anchor, okay, taking the reference of the another element and make the element unique is identified by anchor.
Anchor.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so it works with the bottom up approach on the page. Okay, so what is the bottom up approach now? I will tell you. So you can see this page, right?
Yes. Yes. I'm able.
So let's say you want to take this register. Okay, so how Tosca is taking the login for the register. Okay, so what is the bottom up approach? Now you when you inspect the element,
Okay.
okay, you don't need to explain this, but I'm just explaining what is called as the bottom up approach.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so this is register. So now Tosca will find the anchor. Okay, Tosca will find the reference which element should take as a reference to make the register unique. Okay, so
Yep.
how Tosca iterates the element from the bottom to top like this. Okay, while coming from bottom to top, which element is coming first after the register is login? You can see.
Login
Yeah.
register down is the login one.
Yes. So while coming from bottom to top, from down to up, login is coming before register. Okay, just before the register, first element is coming is login. Okay, so
Yes.
Tosca will prefer for the shortest path as login in the bottom up approach. It
Bottom up.
doesn't mean that it will take the parent element.
Hmm.
Okay, the header link, something like that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, it iterates from the bottom up approach and pick whichever is nearest while iterating from bottom to top. Okay,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
another one is the coordinates. Coordinates is how far let's say left or right, assume. So from the login, from getting the reference of login, the login will tell me the register is sitting next to me in the left.
Yes.
Okay, and shopping cart is sitting next to me in the right. So this
Yes.
is how we use the two algorithms. One is shortest path and second is coordinates
Okay.
while getting the anchor and identifier using the anchor. Okay, so
Okay.
this is
Yes.
it about the anchor. And so what is wildcard?
Wild card also we will be using for, I mean, star mark like that, right? We will be use instead of I mean, we don't know one element. Like if we don't know to search any other object, in that case, it will act as like operator. Like we will put as a star.
Okay, so let's say, hello.
Yes.
Okay, so this is Rohini in 3RI.
Yep.
Okay, so
Oh, yep.
what is the meaning of putting the star and where, if I will put it, what it makes the sense? Can you please explain me in this text?
Okay. If Rohini in 3RI star means some 3RI
No, no.
technology, she's
Where I should put like this, or I can put like this, or what?
anything is fine, right, sir?
Okay, so what it will consider.
So after whatever comes after the Rohini, that all will consider in the star mark. I mean in wildcard.
Yes, so that is I am expecting. Okay, so whatever comes after a certain text, okay,
Yep.
after a
Yep.
common text, let's say on a page, okay, after a certain text, something is not common.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
let's say login to some page. Dot login is different. Dot register is different. Before that, demo webshop is same.
Yep.
So we can put the demo webshop and asterisk as a wildcard.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
so this
Okay.
is how you will use the wildcard.
Yep.
Okay, so this is we have covered in the class 3. Now what we will go with. So as Soumya is not here, we will cover this topic only. First is buffer. Okay, so we will cover the buffers in the Tosca. Okay, then there are how many types of buffers we have. Okay, one is static,
Okay.
one is dynamic. Okay, then there is a partial buffer, then there is
I
a
thought
delete
in
buffer.
buffers we have only X buffer and buffer. Like entire Google have searched, like I got only two X buffer. Difference between buffer and X buffer that I'm getting.
Okay, yes. So the X buffer is dynamic buffer and the buffer is static buffer.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
there are three methods of the buffers. Okay,
Okay.
is getting, setting, and reusing. Okay,
Get, set,
so
and reuse.
yes.
Okay.
This is just to make you very clear with what you can do with the buffers. Okay.
Okay.
So you will not be confused in your interviews also whenever you will going to face it. So what the interviewer is asking, what it is saying, okay, about the buffer, static buffer, dynamic buffer, how we are setting the buffer, how we are getting the buffer, and how we are reusing it. Okay, these are three operations you can say we perform using the buffer. Okay,
Okay.
so now if I say what is buffer, okay, so
Mm.
buffer is, now you say you know about like something about the buffer, how you will define the buffer.
Yes. Like buffer will use in Tosca, we will store one element. I mean, like a test step value. For that, we will use this buffer. This will help like whenever the execution is happening. So we will use this buffer. It's like a temporary storage.
Yes. So buffer is a temporary storage, okay, to store some value for a temporary amount of time until and unless we will override it or we will delete it. Hello?
Yes, sir. Actually, beside my house, some construction is going on, sir.
Okay,
That's the reason I'm putting on mute.
no problem.
Yeah.
So buffer is what, like like it is a temporary element to store some value, and we can reuse it, and while storing some value we can reuse it on the entire Tosca after setting it as a buffer. Okay, so there are two types of buffers. One is static buffer and one is dynamic buffer. Okay,
Mm.
so
Yes.
what is a static buffer and how to use the static buffer? Okay, the first question comes and the first answer is
Okay.
by using the standard modulus TBox set buffer. Okay, this is TBox set buffer we have in the buffer. Okay, let's say we will put the name of this value as set first name. So you can use the buffer name and the value you want to use as a buffer name, let's say first name, and the value you want to put, let's say test. Okay, so this is what you are doing, setting the buffer. Okay,
Okay.
you are setting the buffer using TBox set buffer. Okay, so let's execute this. I am executing my test case using the F6 as a hotkey. So it will execute and it will say buffer with name first name has been set to the value test. Okay, so we have set this value. Okay, now I want to reuse this value. Okay, so where I can use and where I can reuse it, this particular buffer is, let's say we are opening the URL. Okay, the home page, we are clicking registration and logout. This we are using. So we are setting the first name. We are opening the URL. Okay. Now we are clicking on the register. Then in the first name, okay, how we will reuse the buffer is, what is the syntax of reusing the buffer is curly braces B and the buffer name is first name. square braces close and curly brace close. Okay, so I am using whatever I have created using this. So how you will see the buffer value, what you have created, how and where you can see the value, what it will going to use.
Okay. Actually, this buffer we will set in configurations. Right?
No, we are not setting configuration. Like what you are saying, configuration is
Like we'll be setting under a settings engine, and then in buffer we will store this value. So from there it will pick every time whenever the execution is happening.
where the project settings.
Settings.
Okay, and where engine
Engine,
this
and then we have
this first
buffer.
name. Okay, so why you need to use this settings engines? Okay, so now
Okay.
we have a feature in the tools. When you go, there is a buffer viewer.
Okay.
Okay, when you click on the buffer viewer, you will see the first name is set to the value test.
Yes.
Either you can edit it here itself, okay,
Okay.
and you can delete it from here also.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so this is through the buffer viewer you can see what the value it will going to use. This is the one way.
Mm.
You don't want to go for the buffer viewer and see what it will going to use. You just want to see, yeah, this is what I set it. Is it coming the same or not? Okay, so you will
Mm.
just right click and translate value.
Yes.
Okay, when you click here, it will get the value what it will going to use. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So by using the translate value, you can use and you can see what value it will going to use.
Yes.
So this is one way to getting the value. And how we are using reusing the buffer is by setting by using the curly braces B. This is just the buffer and your buffer name in the square braces.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
this is how you are setting the static buffer by using the TBox set buffer. This is one way.
Yes.
Okay. Then you are setting this buffer. Now how you are getting the buffer? Let's say I am on the registration page. I am on the login. Okay, with some login ID. I'm able to log in. You will see here on this link. You will see there are multiple email last name first name is coming. You want to buffer the email what is using here. Okay, or the first name last name also you want to buffer what it is generating. Okay, so for that let's take this ID as the login page. I am selecting on screen. Okay,
Mm.
this helps me to get the values. got these values, which is uniquely identified by ID. This is also identified by ID, and this is also identified by ID. Okay,
Okay.
I am saving this.
So
So now,
whatever you're doing now, this we call it as a manual, or what we will call, like whenever we are selecting a screen and selecting things for our
yes.
modules, right? What we will call this process?
So
Manually.
this is like you can say the scanning of the particular application. Okay,
Okay.
you
Mm.
are scanning the application and you are creating the modules.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you are
That
creating the
I
modules.
got it. Yes, yes. While creating a modules for scanning application in modules,
Yes,
we will scan this application. Then I'm
yes.
seeing like in Tosca two symbols like uh, with manual and automation. What does that mean? I
Where
mean
where
manual testing and automation testing.
where you can see the manual testing and automation testing.
Symbols in main or something where I have scanned application and I have checked there with our finger symbol. It will
Yes,
show
yes. Let me
manual.
show you. Yes, let me show you. Okay, so let's say we have created this module out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is account information.
Yes.
Okay, so not this. I want to create a test case, a manual test case. Let's say uh, 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 where we have that manual test case. Okay, you can see here this and this. Okay,
Mm. Okay.
let's say some of the applications and some of the scenarios are not automable. Okay, there might be anything. Let's say you want to take some ID from different application which you are not using currently, but on some different let's say it is a putty engine or somewhere else, it is showing us some order ID. Okay, that I want to verify on this screen, like my ID is coming or not while I'm checking out. Okay, so let's assume my the first name and last name is coming here or not, as I can see on my other screen. Okay, which let's say some database and can be a file. Okay, that particular file and the data is coming here or not, I want to check, which I cannot be automated. Okay, so
Yes.
for that I will create a manual test case. Okay, and I will create, let's say, check first name, and then there is a check last name. This is not automable test case, but I want to put this into my test case section to get the coverage that I should not miss this particular thing to test this functionality. Even this is not automable, I should not miss this, right?
Okay.
So what you will do when you execute this, it takes little time, just a second. So here you can see it is processing. Okay, so now it is showing me this particular step as a manual step. Okay, so now I can check on my screen, like I'm on this screen, and I can check the first name is coming, right?
Yes.
Okay, so by clicking on this, I will set it as pass.
Okay. Okay. So yes,
Okay,
by scanning, I have faced this thing also. Like I have scanned my own application which I'm working. So I have
yes,
faced like pass and fail and with this symbol.
okay. This thing you have faced it. So
Yes.
you have created by mistakenly a manual test case, a test step.
Okay.
Okay. So when I finish execution, it will go to the another step, last name.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
now I can see there is no last name. Let's assume. Okay.
Yes.
So set it as failed. Then finish test execution.
Okay.
So it requires manual interruption for the manual test case, but
Okay.
it will generate the log, okay, that you have executed it. So when you
Okay.
linked it with some requirement and everything, so it will give you the idea of the coverage you have completed, right? When you click on the OK,
Okay.
you can
Uh,
see it will show you the logs like that only. The first name is passed and the last name is failed.
fail.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you create it in the execution list and you maintain the logs, it will generate the logs out of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can
this
we
is
install
just
like, third-party tables? In third-party tables, we will use like this manual test cases for some of the applications. Maybe we will use like this, I guess.
no, for the manual test cases you can use anything. Okay,
Anything.
it is just you are doing some manual steps by verifying. Let's say from the Excel, you are not able
Yeah.
to steer it some with some certain reason.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to test it using the Excel, you can open it anything. Okay, so being
Okay.
a human, we can open anything and test it with our eyes.
Yes.
Okay, this
Oh,
is just to track the record
yes.
that
Just
you
for
have
trying.
covered. You have covered this functionality and you have covered the particular requirements, which is not automable.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Got it.
yeah, so coming back to the buffer, this is we are creating get buffer. So we see the set buffer already by using the TBox set buffer. Okay, how to get the buffer out of any element? Let's say this is the account info page coming here. I want to take the first name and last name and email ID, what is coming after that, right?
Yes.
So how I will get the buffer is just after that particular element in the value, I will set the buffer name which I want to on which I want to put the value. Okay, let's say this is first name. So I will put first name. Okay, this is last name and this is user email. Let's say email. Okay, so
Yes.
now by getting the buffer, you need to use the action mode as buffer. Okay, so while putting the input, we are giving the command to the Tosca to put this particular value to the application. Okay, while using the buffer and these names, it is saying to get the values from the application against these particular elements. Okay, and put it into this value. So when I execute this, so you can see in the account info, the buffer with name first name is set to the value test. The buffer
Yeah.
with name last name set to the value training,
Training.
and the email is set to the value. this what is the email address.
Yes.
Okay. So you have got the buffer. You have get the buffer using the action mode as buffer,
Buffer.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you have set the value using TBox set buffer. You have get the value using the buffer action mode, and you have reused the value using. Tell me the syntax.
Buffer B of curly open curly braces B of our first name.
P of the buffer name. Okay, in the square braces. Okay, so let's say this is the home page, and this is logged in user. Against the logged in user, now you want to verify the email. What we have buffered is same. Okay, so what should be the action mode? Hello, hello. You are on mute, Rohini. If you are saying something.